What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Oakley here. Ty Bartell over to my right on the screen. Quinn is in the G. Burbank Farms studios, and Mac is back in action here. Gentlemen, congratulations. You have officially made it to National Bean Day. Yes, National Bean Day, which means we get to talk about our favorite bean. So we asked the question on National Bean Day, what is the bean that has made the biggest difference in your life to this point? Mac, you got a good one. Let's go with it.
I went with like the barley. I'm pretty sure it's a bean. I'm hoping it's a bean. Otherwise, I look like a jackass. If not that, the coffee bean. One of the two is they're fantastic. Together, they're amazing.
Coffee and barley?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had a coffee and barley bean together, but I might be missing out. I'm usually late to the party when it comes to that stuff. But that's why you're the guy. When we go, it's either you or Bailey, and I say, what am I drinking tonight? And you guys never steer me wrong. So kudos to you. How about you, Quinn? What's your favorite bean at this point in your life?
First of all, isn't barley like a plant, like a grass? Isn't it like a grass?
I thought so too. I could be wrong.
Grass.
I thought it was like a grain.
That's why I had
Grain. I don't think
backup.
I don't think it's a bean or
First off, that's why I had a backup.
Yep, there's Kate.
The barley bean.
The barley bean.
Well, it's a bean now.
Somebody's been hanging around Jeff too long.
All right. Baked beans. I don't know what beans those are. Those are the only beans I eat.
Baked beans?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of beans those actually are though. I know baked beans aren't a bean. So
Yeah, what would they be?
the bean itself is a special kind of bean. The baked
Isn't it
bean.
just a kidney bean with
I don't know.
barbecue sauce? I don't know. I don't know enough about beans to.
Tastes good. I like baked beans, and that's about it. I hate beans on Chipotle, so that's about it.
Ty, how about you?
Well, Mac's second bean, well, I guess first bean, not barley's not a bean. His second one was kind of where I was going with the coffee bean, espresso bean, anything that kind of deals with like coffee and everything. I'm a huge coffee drinker, so I mean, I think I definitely utilize the coffee bean more than any other bean in my life.
Big coffee bean guy. But I have to say, with a wink in my eye, that my favorite bean is the cocoa bean. So kudos to all of you on National Bean Day. And a very special shout out to everybody who appreciates the cocoa bean as much as we do in our house. Team communication with each other has been suspended for the remainder of 2021. Too much Jeff rubbing off on Mac. I guess that's better than the alternative is Jeff rubbing on Mac. So that we'll go that route. Gentlemen, a lot to talk about, and we'll start with the gorilla in the room. It's crash and learn. So last night, we talked about it the entire time on YSN on the Power Hour. We had, 18 games lined up, and then we had a bowling match as well set up for us at 4 o'clock right after our show. 4 o'clock went perfect, smooth as silk. 6 o'clock, perfect. 6:58, not so perfect. Website goes down. Only the second time it's been down in the last 6 months that I know about, and I've been around the entirety. So 26,000 people will test your website. It'll test your bandwidth a little bit. So that's what happened. We crashed for about 26 minutes, I think was the time down. So we roll up to a half hour, and it's part of what we do, right? We stretched the limits on our website last night. We do apologize, and how do we apologize on YSN? Well, we give you something for free. So if you tuned in last night and were looking for a particular game, that game is now going to be free for the next 7 days. That's right. For the next 7 days, you'll be able to get the game you looked for absolutely free in our YSN archives. No cost to you. So go on if you were looking for the Salem game. That was the game I was at last night, and it was impeded by being down due to the server crash. Go to ysnlive.com/Salem. Scroll down to the game. It's absolutely free for the next 7 days. All 17 games that were on last night will be free for the next 7 days. So that's our way of giving it back to you and saying we're sorry and you were inconvenienced, so please have this game on us. We do apologize, but the entrepreneur, the business owner in me says when 26,000 people are on your website, that's a pretty big deal. So it was exciting. I know, Ty, you had a game last night. Everybody seemed to know about the crash, and Brian was on his birthday, nonetheless, was getting texted and crushed under the foot that was that was the public. How was your game last night?
Oh, I mean, last night was a great game, and we got to welcome in the East Golden Bears for the first time under the Ysn banner, and it was a great competitive game. And if anyone hasn't watched it, if it's free right now in the archives, I'd recommend going and watching it. The Fitch versus East Golden Bears is probably one of the best competitive games you'll see. A great defensive game back and forth, and I mean, there's some dramatics there at the end, some calls that were kind of like iffy with there. They fouled one guy out. One coach from East, Kyler, said he wasn't even on the floor when they addressed the last.
Appreciate your adjustment for our for our sponsors. Quinn, how was your night last night?
It was a fun night. It really was. We got to play a very talented Wellsville team, and I mean, yeah, JV didn't do as good as we wanted to do, but I mean, it was still good to get out and play. I mean, in a time like this, we still got to play, so that's really all that matters to me in that regards. And varsity-wise, it was a really good game.
What did you guys score, like 50 points or 65-55?
Shut up, Billy. Shut up.
That's cold, dude.
Jackass.
I feel a Creekside comment coming on.
We won varsity game, 63-49. Played well. Good game. Physical and all that stuff. We played well. Close to a milestone for one of our players, so I'm excited for that coming up. And back at it on Friday against United.
Yeah, you talk about
you know what I hear all the time is players win games, coaches loses the games.
Well, guess what? We won. So
I hope that's not the case for the Lisbon JVs. I don't have. I mean, we screenshotted it and we put it up there just to say, hey Quinn, what happened here? But let's be honest. Wellsville is a very good basketball team and a very good basketball school with a rich tradition. Not that Lisbon's not that that you have anything to be ashamed of, nor do the kids. But maybe we can refer to this is the blowouts, and we talk about this a lot on the Power Hour. But the blowouts we're seeing in basketball and football, and I don't think we see it as much in baseball. We see like 16-1 or 16-0 or things like that. What's the worst score you've ever seen from any standpoint, any school, any competition that you literally just went, that's probably not the way it should have gone? Billy, I mean, you've been around the sports for a long time. What's the worst blowout you've seen and said, maybe that's a little bit overkill?
I don't really think that there's a score that has kind of said, that's too much without seeing it. I think there's things that happen in a game that will make you feel that way. For me, as a coach and as a competitor, and as all of us, obviously a former player, I don't really look at it like a score that's too much. There's things that happen in a game that'll make me say, that's probably too much. For example, running a 2-minute offense when you're up by 40 points in the second half of a football game. That would be like an example. Or like a basketball pressing late in a game when you're up by 25, 30 points. Those are things that I usually will go, that's a little much, but just the final score itself doesn't really offend me. It shouldn't offend anybody else either.
Ty, how about you? Have you ever been in a situation where you look at a scorecard or you look at the final tally of a game and you go, eesh?
The one game I remember, and it was back when I was actually in high school calling Fitch games. It was when Fitch was coming off of a really good year in 16. I think it might have been 16, 17, and they played Warren Harding. It was the boys team. And I think Warren put up like 110 on us, and it was like 110 to like 40, and they just kept going. And it was just like it becomes hard to call the game at that point, because at that point you kind of have to be biased towards Fitch because you're there for them. Where now I can kind of, I play to both parts because, it's both schools. Most games I'm doing, both schools are represented by YSN. But like in that situation, it's hard to find good things to talk about when there's so many things going wrong. So you gotta try to be creative in how you can try to complement the team in ways.
Quinn, what about you? Basketball is a different animal when it comes to quote-unquote blowouts. Have you ever been part of a game or seen a game that you just went, all right, enough's enough? Like somebody needs to either throw in the towel or somebody needs to dress their JVs and just run some clock here?
Yeah. So being like, I think the record in Ohio high school basketball is, I think, 100-point win. But that was like back in the 40s or 50s. I'm sure Ty knows the actual date and play and score and all that
Time.
stuff. But I think it was, but I mean, yeah, I've seen a bunch of scores, and being around high school basketball as much as I am, like, I mean, Berlin Highland, we've talked about it before. They've had games where they beat up on teams, and there's been games that are always blowouts. And I mean, I've never really been blown out bad, like 100 points like that. But in AAU, I have. I mean, in AAU, I lost by 100, I think 106 or something like that one year, which it's bad. But I mean, you move on to the next game, you flip it, and you try to do the same thing to somebody else. And I've been on the side where I've won by 80 before. So
you've won by 80 points?
Mm-hmm. They had no business playing me.
What business did you have playing them?
Lucky draw.
Oh my gosh! All right, so that leads me
106. It is what it is.
That leads me to my next question: is, from a standpoint of, because we saw JFK. All right, let's talk about that. JFK losing, the girls lose 74-2 earlier this week to Rootstown. Not a whole lot of people talking about it. We're not going to go at length on it, but for me, listen, I've always been the guy that says pedal to the metal. If you want to play us, you got to stop us, right? However, when you see they're only scoring 2 points, you're coming off a pandemic where they probably didn't have a whole lot of practice. When does the comfortable number come into effect? And on top of that, my question would be, are you willing to be ready for whoever's going to come at you in defense of that particular team? Like when you talk about it's Berlin, right?
Berlin Highland.
Berlin Highland. They know what they're getting into. They've done it more than once. They want everybody's best. They play a great schedule most of the time. I don't know what Rootstown or who Rootstown plays, but I know that when you mess up a team like JFK, there's a lot of people around that take note of that and they go, okay.
I think Rootstown's in the Portage Trail.
Yeah,
Mogador and all them.
You sit there and you pound your chest a little bit, winning by 72 and only let the other team score 2 points. I know it's not your job to score for them, but there's a certain precedence that you can do to, okay, this game is comfortably in hand. Let's just run the clock a little bit. And I say that not knowing what happened in that game. I haven't studied the tape, nor will I, really. But I'm just putting this out there from a perspective of, okay, at what point do you, number one, let the dogs off a little bit, knowing that you're going to win the game by a considerable amount, and number two, are you ready for what you just signed up for? Quinn, lead us off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the side of being on the winning side. I'm going to take the Rootstown side just because it's a little easier to explain in my mind. As a coach, when you're winning like that, you do what you have to do. You sub in your JV kids and you sub in everybody you can. You get your lower bench and all that stuff. But, I mean, at the same time, I'm not going to tell my kids to stop. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, run clock and stuff. I'm going to execute my stuff and try to get those kids better because they don't get on the floor as much, and it's still varsity game reps and stuff like that, and you can't simulate it in practice. And at the same time, like, I feel like in my mind it's a little more, I don't want to say embarrassing or something, but if you just kind of say, hey, let them score, like it just doesn't sound right to me. So like I can't justify doing that, I guess. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to say we're stopping what we do.
Eric Bailey chiming in saying 108-1 is the largest margin of victory in basketball, and he even did us with a capital V in victory. So you win 108-1, you probably deserve the capital V because that's you've branded it. What was that?
That's Ty's machine. That's how he figures out the answers.
You, Ty?
Busted.
That's it.
It's okay. You got me 2 championships. It's okay.
Ty, I mean, how do you feel about this? What side of the fence are you on? Is there a fence to sit on when it comes to winning by, is there a number that comes to your mind, your beautiful mind, that that you can win by and be comfortable and still have respect for the other side?
It's kind of interesting too, because after that Berlin Highland victory, I kind of went on and I talked with the coaches too for the games that I did. So I talked to like Coach Gunther of the Ursuline boys team, Beanie and Schnernberger of Fitch, and a couple other coaches, head coach of Mooney's girls basketball team as well. And just to kind of get a feel of what the coaches were also thinking about it. I got some different responses too. I mean, some say we got to keep. You got operate with what we do. I mean, we're not going to change what we do. Some say, we lay off of offense. If I'm up by, say, like 30, 40, I'll lay off of offense, but we never stop playing defense. And I think it's not like a single thing. There's a wide spectrum of what people believe is the right thing, but it always comes down to what they believe is respecting the game, and they don't ever want to disrespect the game. And that's what it comes down to. Some people think it's disrespectful if you stop playing the game the way it should be. Some think it's disrespectful to try to just blow out the other team for the sake of blowing them out. So it's all about respect for each one of these coaches, and I think that's kind of where the actual fence and the lines are drawn for them is where am I disrespecting the game? At what point does this become disrespectful to the game of basketball? And each coach has their own interpretation of that, but I think that's where the line is usually drawn for them.
Billy, I mean, you see it in any sport. I mean, there's you've been on both sides of the blowout. Where does it come in comfortable for you, and what deems it to be, all right, dude, or all right, ma'am, enough's enough?
I'll give you kind of how we do things. Our tripod of coaches for the last seems 10 years now. When we have a pretty sizable lead, there's not a number, but when we see the game kind of getting out of hand. For example, in baseball, is if there's a pass ball, we move runners. We don't take home, but we'll advance every base. We don't tell our kids to not swing at pitches. We play the game. Again, kind of what Ty kind of stole the words I was going to use was respect the game and what we value the game to be. So it's up to a coach's discretion. A lot of times we've been in a blowout situation where we've kind of went over to the coach, hey, what do you kind of want us to do here to where it's okay, and then we'll explain to them, hey, this is what we're going to do. And sometimes that works. Sometimes the coach thinks it's disrespectful, but we don't mean it in any malicious content. So we're not trying to be disrespectful. We're just trying to get through and get to the next game because it's an obvious situation that this game's pretty much over.
Are there ways to kind of sidestep that whole conversation? And in football, it's as simple as running up the gut, right? You run a Dave, you run, a dive, whatever you want to call it on your particular team. You run it up the middle. If they don't stop you, there's not a whole lot you can do. Besides punting on first down, which to me is disrespectful in its own right.
Yes.
I think that would be disrespectful to the game, disrespectful to the opponent and the other sideline. But I think like basketball is tough because we see it all the time. Nobody likes it, but people will run the clock. They'll come up and back in my day, it was you just walk up and dribble it in the corner, you know what I mean, and wait for somebody to come and do it or stand there.
I would look at that like you're making a mockery of the game. That's kind of how I would look at it on either side of it.
Sure.
I don't want to coach a game, if Quinn and I are playing against each other and Quinn's up, which probably would never happen, but if Quinn was up and he was beating me by a large amount, I would not want him to tell his players to just stand there and dribble the ball. I just wouldn't want to. And I would explain to my kids that, hey, we have to go play, period. We have to go scratch and claw our way back into this game, and we have to start with defensive end. We have to get some turnovers. So that would be something, and I would preach. I'm sure he would probably say something of the same nature. So I'm not about that dribble the clock out stuff.
It's interesting you say that, Billy, because typically in a regular year, we have our annual All-Star game that we do for all of the teams. And maybe, just maybe, you could be a guest coach this year.
I will whack his ass, and I don't care.
Can I hire my brother to help me coach?
No. You
will literally go down by 100, and I will still full court press him.
Quinn, there's going to be kids on this team.
Just because of Billy.
I would hate to see what we did if we put Potesta on the other bench.
I hope we have an opportunity to do that. Maybe there'll be a little wager on that.
You can't bet on kids' sports. You can't bet on high school sports. But we will see. Maybe there's something where Quinn would have to wear a jersey, or Billy Mack would have to wear a jersey, or eat something, or do something, no money will exchange hands here on YSN
Fans
because
the same teams.
Oh, that's fine. You can wager that. I didn't mean like just money. I just meant a wager.
Chris chiming in, basketball is sit in a 2-3 zone, no fast breaks, run your offense. If you score, you score. Quinn, is that legit?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm not going to sit in a zone. We just don't play zone. It's just how we do it. But I mean, shut up, Eric. we just don't sit in a zone. We play man defense. But I mean, yeah, it's the same concept. You don't try to disgrace the game like Ty said, and you do what you do to get through it. You don't try to bury people, if that makes sense, I guess.
It makes sense. I think different, and again, it's always going to be different thoughts and different scenarios for different people. Look at Aaron Hart is on the Kyle Shockley bandwagon.
He's good. Kyle Shockley's good.
I looked him up after because I felt bad not knowing who the kid was. He is very good, but yes. Aaron Hart is the leader of the fan club of Kyle Shockley. So maybe we will have Aaron come on one day whenever, hopefully when the big dogs of the Valley start back up. I'm sure Aaron will put his vote in for Kyle Shockley each and every week, which is good because from the looks of it, the kid should be on the docket each and every week. So
I'll give Shockley his due diligence tomorrow. Don't worry, Aaron.
You have a girls game.
Very good player.
Isn't that boys? No, not boys game. I do have a Waterloo boys game though. I thought coming up with Paul. What told me?
I see you have a girls game versus Mineral Ridge tomorrow, and
maybe it's next week then. I knew I had a Waterloo girls and boys. I might have mixed up the 2 days. Girls might be this week and boys might be next.
I think you have to take a picture with Kyle, and we'll post it here on the Power Hour for Aaron.
But either way, I'll do him his due diligence when I see him.
Any final thoughts on the I guess the amount of points that you can put in one way or the other? I mean, it's a respect thing, and we get it, and we're not here to knock anybody one side or the other.
For you, you didn't really kind of.
It's like an awkward conversation to have. Like coaches don't want to talk about that stuff.
No, but what I will say, Quinn, and you'll probably agree, is most coaches know each other outside of just the game. It's not like it used to be where, if you coach at this school, I coach at this school, we don't talk to each other. You got AAU, travel team, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's where, for the most part, a lot of these coaches are friends outside of.
I think, honestly, that's kind of why you don't see a whole lot of blowouts nowadays either, because they're all friends with each other and they respect each other equally. Like, you don't try to go out there and beat up on people.
Let me ask you this. If you're up 20 at the end of a ball game, Quinn, and a kid's running up the court with a basketball up 20 and chucks up a three-pointer or chucks up a prayer, is that something that you have a conversation with your player about?
Is he on my team or no?
Well, yeah, he'd be on your team.
He's on my team and we're winning by 20 and he does it?
Yes.
He's going to get an ass ripping.
Ripping?
You just don't
right?
do that. You just don't do that.
That was an I, not an A, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
You don't do that.
We're not talking about Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, you don't do that. You dribble it up, you hold it, and you kill the clock. You don't do that.
You see that smug face Billy's got right now? That's what I imagine every time he puts a text during a Steelers loss or something about Ben Roethlisberger.
Did I bring up Ben Roethlisberger?
Aaron says, my senior year we lost 11-1 in soccer. They played keep away. They won state that year. Our head coach was upset. Justifiably or no?
Yeah, I mean, I've already said that. Same thing. It's that keep away game. I'm not play the game. Don't make a mockery of the game.
Good officials will stop another from full court pressing in a blowout.
You'll see some foul calls that might not necessarily be foul calls, but you'll see some reaches and everything then getting called.
I mean, hey, Munson, I see you in the games at a glance right now. Just FYI, little backdoor information. I see you looking for Ty right now, making sure that you're all locked in, and you're probably watching.
I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I said, or that I thought I took a game for boys next week. I could be wrong though.
We got the LeBray announcer right here on the show, and he's not scheduled for the LeBray game on Saturday. So Mr. Munson will be getting a phone call after this to make sure we're cleared up for Saturday.
I better go to the game Saturday.
I know you're gonna go. to the game. Poor Richie's caught in the middle of mom and dad having a fight. But that being said, we've got so much more to talk about here on the Power Hour, playing a little Foursquare today. We're going to talk about, and this was raised the other day, I'm really interested to see, number one, what open coaching / GM spot would you want in the NFL right now? There's a lot of great, and we'll, they've already made some hires, but some extra firings. I'm interested to see your guys' comments on this, because there's a lot of great opportunities out there for possibly some young coaches and some coaches looking to get back in the game. We'll get where you think you would want to be if you were a coach breaking into the system. We're also going to talk about Trevor Lawrence as he enters the NFL draft officially. Is he legit, or is he just another system quarterback that'll be a backup in the NFL in some time? And finally, we're going to talk about the confidence in the Browns right now. Do you have confidence to watch this game on Sunday with any hope of winning the game, yes or no? We're going to talk about all that, plus we will absolutely continue to talk about the games we have tonight as soon as I can pull them up. The games at a glance tonight, game day. And look at this beautiful graphic. See it, Billy? See? You guys like that? Quinn has made these beautiful graphics. Now, there he is. Tonight, the 6th of January, West Branch High School. Yes, that's right. We will be the only place in town that has this game. Salem versus West Branch, one of the best rivalries in all of the area. We've got it right here on YSN. Michael will have the call. Billy, you look like a psychopath. The second game we have, it's Mooney and it is Cheney. Cheney makes their debut on the network in girls basketball. That is a 7 p.m. tip-off, I believe. Quinn, is that the right one?
I believe 7:30.
7:30. So I apologize. I pulled the wrong graphic. It's my bad. And then finally tonight, we have Austintown Fitch High School, 7 p.m. tip-off. It's going to be Canfield and Fitch doing battle for that. Ty, is this yours?
Yes, it is.
All right. So you can listen. You can listen to the wonderful tones of Ty Bartell with 2 more local products of YSN. All that and more. And I want to remind you that the Wednesday edition of the Power Hour is proudly presented by Myers Family Insurance, Medicare, Life, and Retirement, 330-286-3044. They are a TLC affiliate. And also I want to tell you how great the owners are. All of the folks over at Myers, from top down, Ann and Jim, are some of the best people I know, family, friends, and friends forever, and proud supporters of YSN all across the network, and since pretty much day one. So love Myers, what they do over there. So if there's something that you need from an insurance standpoint, make sure you're giving them a call, 330-286-3044. We'll be back with more Power Hour right after this on YSN.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
And welcome back to the Power Hour. DJ Yoakley, Ty Bartell, Quinn, and Mac with you. Well, Ty, I got to give you love where love is to be had. Ty with a great call, as always, at last night's Fitch game versus East. Mark Roth, you want to talk about supporters of YSN. My guy is a proud supporter, been there legit, and is instrumental in getting us in an Austintown Fitch, as well as Mr. Sherwood. So I want to thank them. And then, of course, you've got the other half of the A team. Jeff Beto says me and Billy are in. So he's ready to go to LeBray. The voices of the Vikings are ready to rumble. So, Paul, if you're out there listening, make sure you get that flipped over, because
there's already been messages written.
Oh, has there?
from Jeff. Yeah.
From Jeff to Paul?
Yeah.
I bet that goes well.
Can't wait. Waiting for Paul's response.
Yeah, he's going to be like, his face is probably already red and mad at us. So sorry, buddy. We appreciate you. We just want to make sure that the right guys are in the right place.
Damn it, Jeff!
And there should be 2, Billy, you're saying. 2 LeBray games. One in the afternoon with the girls and then one at a doubleheader in the evening?
Yeah.
Very cool. So go Vikes, right? Playing
That's it.
Crestview?
I'm not sure. The girls do not play Crestview during the day. The boys do, though.
Okay, so we have them listed as Crestview. So we'll get that updated on our side. We apologize. I just got the new Crestview lineup today, the new schedule. So we'll make sure we get that taken care of. And also, while I have a minute, props to Darren and Daryl Miller over at Crestview for continuing to just support us in every which way. The Huddle Cam is up in Crestview. We'll be taking full advantage of that. Also have a Huddle Cam in East Liverpool now that it's awesome. Like, we're working on some stuff with Huddle to try to get one in every every single gym that we have. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate the excuse. But we're trying to get Huddle Cams in every single gym that we have to be able to have this experience for the kids and make it better for everybody. So make sure you tune in to East Liverpool and Crestview right now. We're trying to get Beaver Local. They have the Huddle Cam. Anybody that has a Huddle Cam, South Range, we're going to be trying to utilize it here in the short term. So excited for that. Thanks to Huddle for allowing schools to open up to private entities like YSN to utilize this. So a chip in from Corey saying big win for the boys. Potters basketball team over New Philly last night, 53-41. I agree. That was a big win. Potters came into the season and there's a lot of hope and pride down in East Liverpool and especially around this Potter basketball program. And they ran into a buzzsaw early against Struthers, and they've bounced back considerably and are back on track here. So exciting to see the Potters get that big win in New Philly last night. And Corey, thanks for the continued support here of Power Hour and especially YSN. Guys, we talked about it before the break. What open coaching / GM spot would you want in the NFL right now? There's a lot of them out there. I talked about Atlanta being a landing spot for me. I think that they've still got some pieces to make a run. But what stands out to you? What coaching opportunities are out there for you or GM opportunities that you really think could be gems and otherwise a coal mine? So we'll start with Billy Mack. What do you think?
I think for me, I would be intrigued for the Chargers. The only problem with the Chargers is the Raiders are kind of on the way up a little bit, and you got to deal with the Chiefs. But they got talent, and they found their quarterback. Justin Herbert is a stud, and he's only going to get better. He looks like the real deal. He looks like the best rookie quarterback probably since Andrew Luck, and even still then he's got better numbers than Andrew Luck did as a rookie. So he looks fantastic out there. They got a good offensive scheme out there. They can throw the ball around. They can score with anybody. They just can't stop nobody. So that would be the problem. I would have to fix that defense up there. But
I'm with Aaron on that.
It's 70 degrees every day.
That's not a bad situation. That's not a bad situation at all. I'm with Aaron, though. He says Bosa and Derwin James. I don't think there's a bad situation out there. I just think they need to get healthy, because that. Yeah. I'm sensing a tendency to agree with you on this one, Billy, and that doesn't happen very often. Let's go to Quinn. What's out there that you like?
As a coach, I mean, how can you not want to go to San Diego? I mean,
whatever.
Same how do you not want to go to the Chargers? They're just that's probably the best opening, I think, at least that's available. And I mean, I'll probably get arguments about Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars or whatever, but nobody wants to go to Jacksonville. It's just a disgusting place. As a GM, I would say probably the Jets, honestly. I mean, the Jets got 9 draft picks or something like that this year, and I mean, they're not terrible. They got pieces that can be worked with if you build it the right way, and if you could pull that off, you look like a genius and a miracle.
You said the Jets have pieces? Is that what you said?
I mean, if you could fix the Jets' problem, it's like Stefanski going to the playoffs with the Browns. You look like a savior.
And then you get COVID.
Oh, maybe.
Ty, how about you?
I mean, it's obvious for me. It's the Chargers. I mean, you get not only that, you get a top 15 pick. I think they're 13th in this upcoming draft too. So you still get that pick, and I mean, you got a quarterback that I legitimately think is going to be the quarterback of the future for them. I mean, I think he's going to be one of the better ones going forward. Extremely talented. You got a plethora of receivers, Keenan Allen being one, just to highlight one guy. I mean, Austin Eckler, great receiving back, and just a great back in general for them. I mean, defense, I already highlighted Bosa and Derwin James. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of pieces. It just needs someone to bring it all together. And I mean, this team is one that you could legitimately see winning the division, or at least contending with Kansas City for that division for years to come, as long as you get someone that could hone in all these pieces.
Yeah, there's one team out there that we haven't made mention about yet, and I've really been interested because the Houston Texans, like, falling completely flat on their face this year. They're only a couple pieces away, and I know D-Hops don't fall from trees into the draft pick realm, but this is a pretty deep year for wide receivers, and Deshaun Watson, pretty daggone good quarterback. I don't like that J.J. Watt doesn't want to be there anymore. I do like that he wants to come to Pittsburgh, it sounds like, but at the same time, that's the heartbeat of your football team, and it sounds like J.J. is not just not happy with not winning, it's the way that they're losing that he's disappointed in, and to quote him, pissed off that they're not even trying to kind of come together and rally around this. So my thing is, if Watt can spark the Texans, they could be in business next year, and I would want to be the guy behind that, because it might be a stepping stone to a bigger opportunity. But a 2-year job with the Texans, there's some college coaches out there that would probably be interested in that position, one of them being a certain Harbaugh.
That's going to have to be an overhaul, though. I mean, they cannot protect the quarterback there. Even with J.J. Watt, they can't pass rush, and their defense is not good. I mean, that's just a bad football team over there. And it just, you really look at like what the quarterback position is able to do to help them win games, and that's to show how great he is, because he is phenomenal.
Houston's not picking until the 3rd round either this year.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Yeah, they don't get
Miami has like the 3rd pick, so they might get Devonta from Alabama, and Miami's about to get a lot better on offense. They get Devonta.
Is that how you pronounce his name, Devonta?
I think isn't it Devonta?
Devontae Smith?
It might be Devontae Smith. I thought either or.
Ty knows everything in sports, so
Let's ask Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's have Jeff weigh in on this one. Is
I
it
just know
Devontae or Devonta?
he's about to torch Wade for the Buckeyes this week.
All right.
Didn't Miami get their 2nd and 1st round picks?
I think so. I think they did. But I mean, still, just to get an impact receiver on that Miami team that I already think is going to be good for a few years now, I think that's going to be huge for their offense. Someone that can immediately link with Tua. I mean, that's going to be awesome for them.
I think Tua, I like him. I like him a lot, but there's a lot of people that don't think he's the real deal. I think he is, but I think he's got a lot of proving to do.
We already have that Alabama connection, though, with Tua and Nevada.
Oh, yeah, that's just a wet
I
thing
think
for Nick
they're
Saban.
handcuffed. You know how they do rookie quarterbacks? They make you do the check down. They check down, look for the safe play, don't turn the ball over. I think he'll come out of that role eventually and be okay.
I think so, too. I don't think he's got a bad arm. I mean, that's never been the knock on him. And
we just gotta quit. We just gotta quit putting these guys, these rookie quarterbacks out here and being like, you're like so and so, and you're like so and so. I mean, he came out before he even played it down. They were comparing him to Drew Brees. I mean, holy shit! How do you follow that?
Yeah, I'm with you. Corey chiming in again saying, "Will you guys be at the Edison? Will you be at Edison for the East Liverpool at Edison game Friday night to broadcast it? Thanks." And then also follow up with Steve Dawson. Can you guys do the East Liverpool at Edison game? It is, I believe, yeah, we're going to be there. We have the school covering for us. It'll be the Edison broadcast, but we will simulcast it on East Liverpool's channel as well. So easy answer from us. Yes, we will be there. I know that I'm sure I'll get Tommy Pease in a chat, later that night. But yeah, we will have that game for you. Greatly appreciate all that Edison does. Joanne Stegani, just fantastic AD and loves what we have here at YSN. And again, East Liverpool, we love it. We've been with East Liverpool, one of the original 5, I think, that with here at the network. So Tommy Pease has done so much for us. We thank John Ludwig and Josh Ludwig as well. And congratulations to Mason Ludwig, who received a full scholarship offer today. He's a freshman, I believe, freshman or sophomore, I can't remember. So please, I apologize if he is a sophomore, but a full scholarship offer to Kentucky. I mean, as an O-lineman, that's fantastic. Congratulations to Mason. Big fan of a big man. I mean, he is a big boy, and he's going to do big things here for the Valley. So we're going to hook our talons on that young man and carry him and help him however we can, as long as well as everybody else here. So very special man. Aaron Hart is a Shockley fan, and Shockley is my teammate, even though he's on varsity and I'm not. So Aaron, hitch your wagon to him, right? That's what you do as a JV athlete, is you hitch your wagon to a good player like Shockley and learn from him, because that's the best way to do it. So love that Aaron's a teammate and a fan of his own team. You know, that's fantastic. I to switch gears back to the open GM spot and GM spot is interesting, because do you think there's more pressure on a coach or a GM in the NFL? This is a question we've never had before.
I think it depends on where you're at and if they've had success before.
Cleveland?
I think the pressure would be on the coach in Cleveland.
Agreed.
Well, I always have Haslam was the one running the show for how many years, though. I feel like no matter what GM that was put in place there, Haslam picking
Dallas too. Dallas would be the same thing. Yeah.
But I don't think Cleveland is near as bad as Dallas is in regards to Jerry's World and Haslam.
It's not as bad.
I mean, you're not drafting from a James Bond boat in the middle of the ocean just in case things go bad.
Our boat is on Lake Erie.
He's on a rowboat in Lake Erie. Is that what you said? Could be. I mean, doesn't he own a gas station or oil?
Pilot.
Pilot.
Gas
So
station.
he's probably on
Which he got in trouble for fraud.
Oh, really?
He
He's
wants
still
to
dealing
be
with it.
Jones, basically.
He wants to be Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
I want everybody. I would sign up.
Billionaire running the Cowboys into the ground. I could do that. I do it in Madden. What's the difference?
Of all the teams in Madden, you're the Cowboys?
Yeah, I like spending all the money. It's fun.
You're a jackass.
Oh,
Spend
the
all the
money.
money. You'll go 8-8. Oh well.
I'm going to play Quinn in Madden. He just likes spending money. He doesn't care. That's why he's not a good recruiter on NCAA, because he doesn't like the kids that want full scholarship.
Thank you very much.
It wasn't Richie's fault, but you started it.
No, you did that.
I
was limited to defensive coordinator only.
Richie is your kid, man. He is the Canfield connection, one half of the Canfield connection.
It's the Canfield cul-de-sac.
Easy on Richie, okay? All right, let's get to the next topic. Oh, nope, wrong one. Trevor Lawrence officially enters the NFL draft, making himself eligible now that his season's over. Is Trevor Lawrence legit, or is he just another system quarterback that we're going to see kind of fade out of the NFL in the next couple of years? We started with Mac last time. Ty, lead us off.
It's interesting. In my personal opinion, I think he's going to be good, but I don't know if he's going to be this dynamic guy. I don't know. Like, for me, Joe Burrow was one that I saw coming out, and I thought Joe Burrow is going to be great in the NFL, and I still think Joe Burrow is. I think his first season, even though it ended with injury, I think he had sparks and flashes of being great, and I think he can really do something with that Cincinnati Bengals team. With Trevor Lawrence, though, it's interesting because the Buckeyes kind of exposed him a little bit, because I don't think the Buckeyes defense is all that fantastic right now. They've lost a lot of the big names on defense from last year to this year, and it might put some people on high alert. He's still going to go number 1 overall. Jacksonville, I think, is still absolutely going to draft him. But, it still makes you wonder now, wow, if the Buckeyes were able to really contain this guy that's supposed to be this premier level talent guy, it makes you wonder, because, you look at Joe Burrow, and I understand it's a team sport, but Joe Burrow torched everyone he faced, even in the playoffs. He absolutely torched them, no matter who was put in front of him. I think the difference is Joe Burrow, I think, is going to be great. I think Trevor Lawrence has the potential to be great.
Wow. That's a great analysis. All right, Quinn, you're up.
I don't know how to follow that.
You follow it like this. Is he going to be better than this guy?
I see. That's exactly who I thought of when I thought of Trevor Lawrence in the NFL. Honestly, was Phillip Rivers. I mean, put up decent numbers, have a long career, and don't really do anything bad or good, and you just kind of exist in the NFL as a quarterback that starts for 15 years.
By the way, how do you not want to punch this guy in the suck hole? Like when he makes faces like that. Like I just want to deck him. Like he's got that beautiful uniform on representing the Colts and like look at his face.
I want to punch another fat quarterback instead.
You watch your mouth.
He's the one that likes to ride motorcycles.
Kellen Winslow.
No, what is he?
Tight end.
He's in public or something, doesn't he? Something like that. He was another failed draft pick, but
so hold on here.
Bad. I really don't. I don't think
so.
Good, though, just be another quarterback.
Back to Trevor Lawrence here. You think he's going to be great?
No.
Or you think Joe Burrow is going to be great, and you think Trevor Lawrence is going to be average?
I think
average to good quarterback.
I think Joe Burrow is going to be great. I said Trevor Lawrence has the potential to be great.
All right, so let's look
may or may not. But I think Joe Burrow is already going that direction. I see more of Trevor Lawrence. He's on kind of like the balance beam. He's on a teeter-totter right now, where it can go one way or the other for Trevor Lawrence. Joe Burrow.
What was Trevor Lawrence's record in college?
Something in 2.
35-2. All right, so he's 35-2 in a national championship. He lost to Ohio State and LSU. Like, if a quarterback goes through its entire career and says he lost to Ohio State and LSU, like, there's no fault in that, right? I can't drop him to say that he's going to be a bust. I think he's going to be pretty good, and I think he's rightfully deserving of the first overall pick for sure.
Here's the difference in what you're talking about is, did he win those 35 games, or did the team win those 35 games with him? Because the difference in Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, and I think what Ty's trying to get at is, I don't think LSU wins the national championship without Joe Burrow, and I think there's evidence.
Who's the rookie? Who's the rookie of the year in the NFL right now?
Chase Young.
Offensive rookie of the year.
Joe Burrow?
It's not. It's Justin Jeffrey from
but he's on the
Minnesota.
NFC,
Yeah, but he also is the rookie of the year. So and he broke Randy Moss's rookie record for receiving yards. So let's not sit here and say it was just Joe Burrow. Like I can't just do that. I mean, there was 3 wide receivers that got drafted in the first 2 rounds from LSU. So let's not sit here and say that Joe Burrow didn't have any talent around him, because he did.
I mean, that's a good point.
But also to go on that point, out of those 35 wins, how many of those teams that Trevor Lawrence beat that were these lame duck ACC schools when Joe Burrow beat SEC?
He beat Alabama. He beat Ohio State. I mean, there's a lot of good teams on that list too. So I'm not gonna.
Listen. Let's not drink the juice on Ohio State. Okay, they're in the national championship, but it's not like they've been a really desirable team since they won the national championship, right? They've had a ton of issues, and they've gone
2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were loaded, and that was supposed to be the team that won the national championship, and they punched them right in the mouth, 31-0.
Agreed, but they again. ETN, like you have ETN, you had a ton, and that Clemson defense was outstanding.
Yeah,
outstanding.
LSU is incredible too, though.
Well, LSU, I'm saying LSU is a good football team, but Joe Burrow made the difference. Joe Burrow made everybody look really bad. Like there's a difference between having an average quarterback and beating teams by 10, right? And Joe Burrow throwing 5 touchdowns in one half.
Right. I'm not sitting here saying Joe Burrow's bad. I'm just saying, hey, there's a bunch of talent that he had too.
I think Joe Burrow is a Peyton Manning, if we're comparing it to, and I think that Trevor Lawrence is probably along the lines of somewhere, and this is a wide spectrum, somewhere between Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, the comparison thing. It's all about the line. If Cincinnati doesn't get a line problem fixed, Burrow's going to get destroyed again. And the same with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence won't stand a chance if they don't get linemen.
Well, yeah, I agree, but I think it's kind of weird to compare him though, because Joe Burrow does have the NFL experience right now, and we see Joe Burrow is the real deal in the NFL with a team that is not a complete team by any means in the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's able to put up 400-yard games against other NFL talent teams with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be a good quarterback. I says he has the potential to take it to a next level, or he has the potential to just be an average quarterback, where I think Joe Burrow is just going to be a great quarterback in the NFL.
So here's the follow-up question to this: is we're kind of on the and we can go a couple minutes over if it's not bad with you guys, but I would say, where does Justin Fields rank in all of this? I mean, I heard that. I mean, every Ohio State fan that annoyed me the other night, it started being, oh, Jags don't want Trevor Lawrence; they want Justin Fields. No. That's not going to happen.
Can I start this off?
Sure.
So let's be realistic and say, like, what Ohio State quarterback has been good in the NFL? I'll wait. Zero. Okay, so before.
Mike Tomczak.
Mike Tomczak. I'll give him that one.
That's the last successful Ohio State quarterback in the NFL.
So before we get too crazy with, Justin Fields is going to be a great NFL player. It's just, you don't know. He might be good. I don't think so. I don't know if he. Again, when you get drafted to a team, it's all about situation and where you go. For the most part, is Justin Fields a guy who can take like the Jaguars or the Jets to new heights? I don't think so. I think situationally he would have to fall into like a Dak Prescott situation where he's got a nice running back, a good offensive line, some good playmakers, and then kind of build around that. Very similar to like Baker Mayfield. I think he falls into that category where he has to be in that right situation, be protected, and kind of learn and grow and kind of evolve as the NFL takes, he takes his course in the NFL. To come in and start out, I don't think so. He's not going to do what like Joe Burrow did with the Bengals and slinging around and kind of give you that spark you need. I don't think he's that guy. I mean, there's plenty of games this year alone that you could say, hey, Indiana didn't play very good, Northwestern didn't play very good, and they asked him to throw the football early in those games.
This is perfect. Aaron read my mind. Fields would be a good fit for the Colts because he would be perfect.
Fit. Yeah.
Who's the quarterback? I don't even know if he's still on the team. It's Jacoby
Brissett.
Yeah.
I mean, you want a higher level Jacoby Brissett, that's him. That's Justin Fields. He can do a little bit more with his arm than Brissett can, but he's the same running style quarterback. So I think that'd be a perfect fit.
It's
something for you.
And that's kind of where like my whole mindset was, where like I think that Lawrence has the potential to be great. I think Justin Fields has the potential to be good. I don't think he's going to hit a different stratosphere in the NFL. I think he has the potential to be a solid quarterback, depending on, like what Billy said, where he falls. And I think where he's projected, and some of the projections I'm seeing, some are saying the Jets. I would not take Justin Fields right now if I'm the New York Jets. The Falcons are the other one I'm seeing. The Falcons might work out. I mean, Julio's kind of towards the tail end, but if you get the pieces around Fields, he might be able to make something happen like that. And the Atlanta Falcons, they're usually within contention in that division from year in to year out. They have their up years, their down years, but they usually have a solid team down there in Atlanta, and I think that would absolutely be a better fit for him. But I do think the Colts would probably be the best all-around fit because they always have a solid offensive line, too.
See, I think the Colts, or you look to their nemesis, is the Tennessee Titans. And I know, like, you can move them right now, and you think about Derrick Henry and Justin Fields. I mean, that's two running backs in the backfield. You're going to have to stop, and Fields can still beat you with his arm, as he showed the other night. And I think that would be the perfect landing spot if Tennessee was willing to tighten up a little bit and get rid of some of the guys that they think
Indy's better.
They like their quarterback, though, and they just offer him an extension, so he's not going anywhere. That's not even going to be a spot for him to land, though.
Anyway.
What's that?
Indy's a better fit for Fields than Tennessee would be, I think.
Yes and no. I mean,
I think so.
I think Jonathan Taylor's good, but I don't think he's as good as Derrick
Fields
Henry.
Is the third best quarterback in the draft anyway. I don't even think he's number 2. I really don't.
You got it number 2?
Trask from Florida.
And Tannehill's putting up great numbers this year. So
I also think T.Y. Hilton would also benefit a lot more if Justin Fields was on instead of the Colts, because T.Y. Hilton production value went down a lot because Phillip Rivers was the quarterback.
The quarterback thrown from his hip.
I freaking hate Phillip Rivers.
I also think the Cowboys would be a great fit for
Hate him.
Justin Fields. I mean, I don't think Dak's going anywhere.
No. He just signed a
but-
huge deal, didn't he?
No, he was franchise tagged. I don't think he's signed yet.
Yeah.
Well, he just got a really nice home. I saw I saw it the other day. I was like, whoa.
35 million on that tag, I think, or 36 or something like that.
Yeah, my man's spending it in Texas.
I mean, if Jerry doesn't re-sign him, then I'd take Dak over anybody in the draft.
DJ,
If
what
I
about
was the
Fields to
Jets,
Pittsburgh? Don't think
Draft
that would be
the
bad.
Oregon tackle and then take Dak.
I wouldn't like him in Pittsburgh. I don't think he would.
I'm conflicted on this. I don't think that
Forget Mason Rudolph, the GOAT.
the Steelers' offense is not. Hey, why don't you shut up, Quinn? Because you're going to sit here and talk trash, and then what's going to happen on Monday?
Hey, I'm waiting for that next segment. I already told you what's going to happen.
Okay, well, we'll get there in a second. Let me answer this question before you run your chops about Mason Rudolph, who, by the way, almost beat you with a JV team. So
Almost.
enjoy.
Didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Fields to Pittsburgh, I don't like it. I don't. Pittsburgh needs to have a bigger, stronger arm quarterback.
Wayne Haskins.
Yeah, I would be better with Haskins than I would with Fields right now because he's more set up with the Steelers' offense. What the Steelers have known. Now, we all forget about the Steelers kind of started this revolution of the running quarterback and the scrambling quarterback when it comes to Cordell Stewart. I mean, Slash, by trade, started as a wide receiver, running back, special teams, and then became the starting quarterback after Neil O'Donnell. I don't think the Steelers go backwards. I don't think Mike Tomlin likes that style of offense. But I will say this, is if Randy Fichtner decides that he's not coming back to Pittsburgh, which I would be more than happy with.
You guys created the running quarterback?
I don't want to say we created it.
Great
but in
name
this,
for Cordell Stewart, old Michael Vick, Josh Dobbs.
I wouldn't even go before that. Like, I don't know, Randall Cunningham, the Eagles?
well, yeah. Listen, I'm not saying that we created it, the wheel. I'm just saying that the most probably revolutionary quarterback to bring it back in that style was Cordell Stewart.
Steve Young?
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick was after Cordell Stewart, Quinn. I know you weren't born yet, but
He
just
was drafted in 01.
Cordell
Steve
Stewart
Young?
was in 1995.
What about Steve Young?
2 years? I mean,
He was in the Super Bowl in '95, so
I
when
agree.
Cordell was drafted.
How successful was Cordell as a quarterback?
Not great.
Okay.
Not bad though, I don't think. Right? It wasn't terrible.
He wasn't awful.
Good.
I mean, it was the what I think. And maybe I'm phrasing this wrong. I probably
Really, wasn't it?
he was like the wildcat guy.
Don't tell me.
Are those the only quarterbacks you know, Quinn?
No, I remember a lot of Pittsburgh
Let's
quarterbacks.
let's go through the
Other than
lineage of Browns quarterbacks while we're at it.
Oh, I can name almost every one of them.
Well, I'm glad because that's not something to be proud of. Anyway, let's go to
Why not? There's like 700 of them.
let's talk about your Browns. How confident are you in your Browns? Right
Zero.
now?
Zero. Unless number 7 doesn't play. If Roethlisberger doesn't play, the Browns win. If Roethlisberger plays, we don't have a chance.
Roethlisberger's playing. In fact, it was quoted earlier today that he is 100% feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. So
I can tell you why, but that's not a G-rated reason.
he's married with 3 kids.
Already came out earlier this year. Why? We're not
Okay.
discussing it.
Welcome to
I
the
hate Roethlisberger.
overtime report with DJ and Ty and Mac and D-Bag. Ty, confidence in the Browns right now. If you were a betting man, would you bet on Cleveland?
I wouldn't bet on Cleveland, but I will say, I mean, you know, I hate taking this approach, but I mean, anything could happen. And what's interesting, though, about this game is that both these teams, and I think you alluded to it earlier this week, DJ, they're kind of like on reverse trends, but it's also about what team we're going to see. Are we going to see the Pittsburgh team that came out against the Bengals that looked lost out there? Or are we going to see the Pittsburgh team that came out against the Colts in that second half and looked like world beaters? Same thing with the Browns. Are we going to see the Browns that came out against the Titans and looked like they could beat pretty much anyone in the NFL at that point? Or are we going to see the Browns team that struggled before that? You don't know what's going to happen. If I'm going to bet against anyone, I'm going to say that I'd say the Steelers are going to win it. And it's for the simple fact that I said it before. You've been there. They've been to the dance before. They have a coach that's been to the dance before. They have a quarterback. I mean, experience is a huge thing for NFL, especially in the playoffs like that. And I just think the Steelers having that experience and being to the dance before is what's going to put them over the edge, especially with the Browns dealing with all their tests right now, which, I mean, you don't want to use it as an excuse, but I mean, it is what it is. You play with whatever's dealt to you. But I mean, that on top of the fact that the Steelers have been there before, I think gives the Steelers the ultimate edge.
Denise chiming in saying, how many practices did the Browns have last week? Maybe one. Let's calm down, DJ. I'm calm. I am absolutely calm. I mean, if there's one thing that gets under my skin, Billy, what is it?
It's the Browns' excuses. This is a big one.
In Roethlisberger
That
being called a rapist and all that stuff. Some guy that's in this area likes talking about all the things.
Yeah, he's not a top 5 quarterback.
Okay. Go ahead.
So my biggest concern for the Browns is really, to me, the biggest loss is their left guard, the guy who, Bentonio, is the guy who makes all the decisions on the line. So with a line that's kind of hasn't looked good the last couple of weeks, with some guys being in and out and kind of COVID and injuries or whatever, I mean, it happens. But to me, that's the kind of guy that makes our offense go up front to protect Baker. And when Baker's protected, he looks like a pretty good quarterback. When he's not, it is happy feet, let me get rid of the ball guy. And then your head coach, who kind of even keel Mr. No Emotions over there on the sidelines to kind of bring our team kind of back. With him not being gone, we don't really have a true offensive coordinator. So now you're getting a special teams coach to kind of call all the plays, which means Baker's going to be making more decisions. I'm not a big fan of that. I just don't like the idea of Baker making decisions for the offense right now in this point of his career. I don't think he's ready for that. I think he's shown what he's capable of in big moments. You go back to Ravens, you go back to the Steelers early. I think we'll see more of that type of Baker, which is never a good sign for anybody. But I mean, hell, you never know. It's the playoffs. Anything can happen. You know, you get momentum shifts and swings. If the Browns can find a way to get turnovers, who knows? But that's a big if, because the Browns defense stinks.
Steelers have not played well at night. I will say that they have not fared well during the evening games in prime time. Keep in mind that the game against Cincinnati is under their repertoire this year. Kate Kelly says, my mom yells rapist at Ben whenever the Steelers are on TV. Insert emoji of girl with hands up, shoulder shrugging. Okay. Well, I think the Browns are a better story, though the predetermined winner may be the Browns. NFL equals the WWE.
Do we think Baker comes out and he beats the Steelers? I mean, I guess this question's more directed at Billy. Is he a legitimate quarterback then, in your mind? Is he what you would consider legitimate if he goes out there and beats the Steelers with all the adversity that he has to face right now?
I don't. So, what are you trying to say? Like, do they offer him the 5th year back next year? Or?
I'm saying, like, I mean, you're skeptical on Baker being this great quarterback. So, say he goes out there, game fades on, goes out there, beats the Steelers with all these pieces missing and everything. Is he legit?
I mean, I guess it would be hard to not defend Baker if he goes out there and wins a playoff game on the road with adversity. Not having your head coach who call, I mean, all those storylines kind of added up. It'd be hard for me to not say, hey, hell of a job, great job, right?
And I think that's kind of like the interesting storyline going forward. It's a huge game for him.
Asshole.
I think
He's say otherwise.
What are you looking at?
Me.
I do think this is going to be a huge game. It's a huge game for Baker Mayfield anyway, but I think this is a huge people talk about legacy in all kinds of sports, but this kind of, I think, places where Baker's going to be if he goes out there. And I don't know about
all that. I think it's early for that. But what I will say is this: Baker, if you want paid as a quarterback, go win this football game.
I think that's legit.
I think
here's the thing. I mean,
5th year's picked up.
We talk about rival.
Yeah, but this will go a long way getting paid down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
We talk about rivalries all the time, right? And how the Browns-Steelers rivalry is back. I still am waiting for the official, like, they're back. The Browns have not won a game against the Steelers, a legitimate game that means anything, in a long time. right? You beat us last year. You beat us. Cleveland beat Pittsburgh last year in Cleveland in the Myles Garrett game. Didn't mean anything. There was no Roethlisberger. There was the Steelers were going to be bad. It was predetermined they were going to be bad after Roethlisberger goes down. Last week, the Steelers defeated by the Cleveland Browns in a game that didn't mean anything. And
well, it meant something to us to get into the playoffs.
Again, it always means something to the team that it doesn't mean anything to the other side. You know what I mean?
You can't say it wasn't meaningful, because if the Browns didn't win, there was a big chance that they weren't going to make the playoffs.
It wasn't meaningful to both teams.
But it wasn't meaningful in regards to the rivalry.
Yeah, if you're the Steelers and you're Mike Tomlin and your options are the Browns, the Dolphins, the Colts, and the Ravens, and you have the chance to control your own destiny a little bit if the Browns I'm not going to say that the Steelers threw the game like the Eagles did the other night, but
oh boy.
I'm telling you that if you get to pick your opponent and you're looking at a team that's beating you by 2 and your quote-unquote JV team, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but you're going to take that team. You're going to, like, they're not playing their best football right now, and any Browns fan that thinks that they're peaking at the right time, they peak too soon. I mean, if you just beat Baltimore or that game against Baltimore where you lost by a touchdown, and was it overtime or no, it was the last couple seconds.
No, last couple seconds after
I don't want to play that team. I don't want anything to do with that team. I even came out on the radio on Ron's cast, and I said, listen, I think that team can beat Kansas City. I still do, but I don't think that team is there right now. I mean, they are a shell of who they used to be. So, but Darren's right, because the NFL surely likes these storylines, but I think the bigger storyline would be the Steelers in a little bit of adversity that they faced this year, finally getting a chance to ramp it up. In ratings, Steelers fans bring ratings. It's known all across. It's how they travel. There's Steelers fans everywhere. There's Steelers bars everywhere. The NFL needs ratings this year more than ever before. And I think if we're talking about WWE storylines, that's what we're talking about. But, excuse me, COVID. I will say this. Look at where Baker Mayfield rolled out to last week, right? Look at where he predominantly rolls out to when he rolls out of the pocket and he goes to his right? Who's going to be standing there waiting for him every single snap this Sunday? Is a guy that should be the defensive player of the year.
That's the point of their offense, though, is they want to isolate like a TJ Watt out there on an island, because that creates that cutback lane for Chubb and Kareem Hunt on that zone, that inside zone. So if they want to be able to read that eventually going through the game, that's why Stefanski missing him is going to be huge, because Baker can't see that. He can't read that from up top and get that information relayed down to him.
Who would you say is a better running quarterback, Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about running. I'm talking about the scheme itself. So the zone scheme itself is basically, if you watch Chubb run most of the year, is he goes to the left, cuts back through the right, and goes. And the reason why that's successful is because of how much they do roll. They fake the handoff and roll out right while they're throwing. It's not about Baker running. It's about Baker creating that distance from the offensive line in that pocket and being able to.
I get that. But
you know what I
when
mean?
you've got two defensive ends or linebackers, whatever you want to call them at that point, that pin their ears back, and one's probably going to be your defensive player of the year, you're not going to run that way. You're just not, because Allen didn't. Allen's one of the best rushers, and that's half of his game, right? He's got a big arm and he can run. Baker Mayfield, he doesn't have the option, and we didn't have TJ Watt last week. We didn't have Cam Hayward.
That's what I'm saying. That the scheme helps create that from keeping TJ Watt out, so the cutback lane's there. If the cutback lane's not there, it's because TJ Watt's cheating a little bit and trying to stop the play.
So how did you only score 7 points against the Steelers in the first week?
Well,
how did that scheme go?
Penetration kills everything. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Mike Tyson. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right? So things happen throughout the game. I'm talking about in a perfect world, that's what they want to try to do. The problem is they don't have enough coaches on offense to kind of read that and relay it to the field now.
I think we only scored 6 week 1.
7. It was 38-7.
I thought it was 6.
Was Chubb out that game against? I mean, not that. I mean, it kind of does matter, but I wasn't sure if Chubb played that game or not. I don't know.
Played last week.
Yep, 99 yards in a touchdown, or 108 yards in a touchdown.
108.
And I think that's going to be an interesting matchup too. And this I mean you never really can expect it. Injuries happen throughout the NFL, but I would really like to see these teams both at full strength going at each other. And I mean,
I want to see it at a possession game, and with Baker with the football with a chance. And I want to see if he's capable of doing something worthwhile, or
do you think
throws a pick six to, that guy from Alabama on the other side of the field.
Fitzpatrick.
Do you think the Browns have that chance if they are able to control that clock? I mean, I feel like that's the only way. They have to control the clock with the running game against Pittsburgh, and less time the ball is in Roethlisberger's hands, the better chance the Browns have at winning it.
Well, I would
Peyton
say
Manning rule, right?
I would say that about everything.
All right, that's going to wrap up our the big portion of our show today. We will end, as we always do, with the filet or the beef, brought to you by G. Berwick Farms. Visit them on the web at gberwickfarms.com and on New Buffalo Road, 10 to 4 on Saturdays. They're open. Make sure that you get in there, wear your masks, and then get your beef and enjoy everything, every meal, every dish. I know we've got strong believers in G. Berwick Farms here on the Power Hour. Everybody's had a piece of that beef. Listen, again, the absolute best that you could have from G. Berwick Farms. Again, New Buffalo Road in Columbiana, or easier, just go to their website, gberwickfarms.com. All right, what is your beef? We'll start with you, Ty. What do you got?
Yeah, I've been doing fillets a lot last few weeks, so I'm going to go with a beef today. A couple of my buddies that are also Patriots fans with me. Calm down. I mean, you guys are shitting on them tremendously right now because we had a 7-9 season the first time in forever and had a losing season. 7-9 isn't even that bad, I think, for the team that we had offensive wise. So calm down. There's been teams that have been way bad for a way longer time. So just calm down. The future is going to be fine. I believe in Belichick and I believe in the Patriot system. So calm down.
Respect. Quinn, on to you.
I have two beefs with the same person. It is the name Ron Potesta. I guess I could do three, but the third is kind of obvious. It still stinks back here. Two beefs with him. One, a slam dunk, big momentum in basketball. Plain and simple, it is. It is. Shut up with that. And the second thing is no one cares about Notre Dame. You got your ass kicked. Accept it. Move on. It's over.
All right. Quinn with the beef. All right, Mac, what do you got?
So apparently it's beef day because it just tastes better. So my beef today is first thing with my bank situation shutting down, kind of not really out of nowhere, but they told me a couple of things that they were going to do for me, and they just decided to say, well, we're not there no more, so screw it. So there was that. And then just people not communicating and going behind closed doors to make decisions.
Well played. All right. Everybody else seems to have a beef today, so I'm going to give a filet. The guy, and again, we talked about him yesterday, the birthday boy, Brian Scott, co-founder of the company here. On his birthday, the internet goes out for Potesta's show. He makes a couple phone calls, gets everything back up, like he usually does. And then, like we talked about earlier on this show, the outage happens for our entire site on his birthday. And he's on the phone with me till 10 o'clock at night. We're just going over the game plan and everything. My filet is this guy, Brian Scott, again, co-founder of the company, full-time job that he does. He's got a son. He's got a wonderful family that he's got to take. He's the matriarch or the patriarch of, and he does everything for us as well. And he never gets any recognition. The dude continues to save the day like Superman each and every time there's a problem. So I'm going to lift him up way up high on a platform.
Play the "I Need a Hero" song.
That's who he was last night. Because here's the reality of the whole situation is I'm in Salem and I've got no power to do anything at all, right? I'm remote. I've got zilch. And I'm getting text messages and we're getting nasty emails and nasty social media messages. And I just stand there like this because there's nothing I can do. And Brian Scott comes to the rescue and saves us all. What are you laughing about, Quinn?
Billy's little 2-second song clip.
Well, copyright infringement. I don't want to. You know what I mean? I don't want to get Ysn in trouble.
You had about 17 seconds left before we were in copyright infringement mode. So
Well, if that's the case, let me find it real quick.
please don't. But my fillet goes to Brian Scott, a hero that goes unnoticed each and every day. And we're so fortunate to do what we do and be the faces, so to speak, of what we do. This guy busts his ass, busts his tail constantly. Doesn't ask for any of the shine, doesn't ask for any of that stuff. You'll see him from time to time on our stuff, but he deserves way more than what he gets. So just tip of the cap to Brian, and on his birthday, man. Like my heart was broken last night because I'm just like, are you off? Nope, not off. Wow. Like, not that we get birthdays off here, but naturally, you don't want the shit to hit the fan on your birthday. Never. You want to go down with a good birthday. And in typical Brian / Eeyore fashion, he says, well, I've had birthdays before. So, like, oh, man, like, your heart goes out to him. So thank you. If you're out there and you were part of last night and you were patient about it, thank you so much. We appreciate it so much, the people that just hang on. Like, stuff happens. It's technology-driven company. It's going to happen. We'll get it back to where it needs to be and centered up and push it right back out to you. So thank you for everybody that tuned in. And again, tonight and through next Tuesday, free basketball on the network. You'll be able to go to your favorite team. If your team was on last night, go and download it. Absolutely free. Typically $2.99 charge, but because of the situation last night, free for the next 6 days. So go download it now. Enjoy it for the rest of your life. Put it on DVD and hand it off to your kids. Make sure they have that game. Hopefully it was a big game. It was a big game for John Berdovich last night, 1,000-point scorer. So congratulations, Berto. Proud of you, buddy. So that's going to do it for Power Hour unless you guys got anything else. Put a wrap on it. Put a bow on it. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4 right here on your Sports Network. See